who identified as transgender, entered the bathroom, saw there was someone in her stall, and opened the stall door while she was on the toilet. The girl was shocked, obviously traumatized. The kid's 9 years old. A violation, obviously, of our privacy. This poor girl now, according to this article, and we'll hear from the parents in a second here, refuses, and is scared to death to actually use the bathroom at school, even though the Riveras, the parents, had previously complained about this male student using the girls' bathroom. The school refused to take any steps to stop the incident from happening and told the parents that just following state law. Then the school conducted, quote, their investigation into the complaint, and they issued a final decision. And anyway, because they have to protect student privacy, they think that they have a right to make the public aware of what were their key findings. I know what they are, but I'm going to let them tell the story themselves. Anyway, joining us now is Sam Whiting. He's the legal counsel for the Massachusetts Liberty Legal Center, and Louis Rivera, a Rochester, Massachusetts father fighting for his 9-year-old daughter, whose story we just told you about. Louis, thank you for being with us. Sorry your 9-year-old little girl had to go through that. It is not a topic when I started my radio career I ever thought I'd be dealing with, but now we're dealing with this crap every day.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for having me on.
All right, tell us the whole story and then tell us what the decision was.
All right, so May 1st, my daughter comes home from school in the afternoon, that she normally does, and she gets off the bus, and she comes in, and you can tell her eyes, she was distraught, her eyes were red. She's been crying all day long, and I asked her what happened, and she told me she was using the bathroom at the school, and this boy that identifies as a girl came into the restroom. He proceeded to look under the step.
And this is somebody you knew about, complained about prior to this incident, correct?
Yes. We called prior a year before that when the teachers tried to usher this boy with the girls on a field trip into a restroom, and my daughter came running out. She told us when she got home. We addressed it at the school. The principal said that no boys are allowed in the girls' bathrooms, and she would investigate. A couple of months later, my daughter came home that this individual was running in and out of the girls' bathroom once again. So he proceeded.
No worries. Been a busy day as usual.
And he started peering through the cracks on her. She yelled up to get away, and when she tried to get up to pull her pants up, he decided it was okay to push the door open and expose her that half-naked body, basically. And she was traumatized and went back to her classroom. She was crying, and she was like that all day long until she got home. She told me this.
Wow. And moving forward, she's now afraid to go into the bathroom at her school.
At her school and in public. She's been traumatized with this. My wife has to escort her, or I have to find a family restroom when we're in public. She doesn't feel secure or safe in the restrooms right now, and she's going through some major therapy and stuff behind it right now.
All right, so in this document, we're going to talk to Sam in a minute because it's his legal group that is representing you. The school did investigate. The school came to a conclusion. They don't want you to make this public.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Actually,
They
things are going pretty well lately.
Nothing really happened. They said that yes, he did go in there, but there was no Title IX violation.
Wow. Sam, let's your involvement in this, and what remedy might Louis and his wife have to protect their daughter moving forward? I mean, not only any 9-year-old girl should have to go through this.
No, absolutely not. And unfortunately, schools across Massachusetts have policies like this where they say that to comply with state law, they have to allow boys into the girls' bathroom.
How about you?
If they identify as girls. And
okay, but by the way, even if it was a girl that was looking underneath and opening the door of a stall to a bathroom, invading somebody's privacy, going to the bathroom, even that should never be allowed. I mean, can we just start with the basics here? Then you add the fact that he's a biological man, and I don't think the word peeping Tom, but obviously has some severe problems if he's going to treat somebody like this. And the
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being loyal as you are.
They have no alarm bells are running.
I'm only going to get a few for people for now until I get my creator program activated again. Whoops.
If this was another girl or if it was a boy who didn't identify this way, I think the situation would have been dealt with much differently. And listen, I mean, this child, it's a 9-year-old boy who's also in 3rd grade, and we don't know what was going through his mind, and he's really not the focus of our complaint here. The focus is the school has put in place these policies that allow boys into the girls' bathroom, no questions asked, and that clearly has disastrous consequences for the privacy and dignity of girls. And so what we did is we kind of took two
Nice turning signal,
One
asshole.
To file a Title IX
Oh, as you're turning, there you go.
To have them investigate
Dumbass.
and that's what they did. And of course, they ended up finding, there was no Title IX.
No sleep last night? Yeah, I got very little actually myself, but that's okay. We're powering through. You know how we do.
But we also filed a complaint with the Federal Department of Education and their Office of Civil Rights. And so what we're pushing for now is for the federal administration to pay attention to what's happening in Massachusetts and hopefully investigations and enforcement actions as they seek to get schools across the country to uphold Title IX.
A lot of parents, Lewis, they don't have the money. I mean, we pay all this money in taxes. We send our kids to government schools. It's another example of all those people that
I found out they just increased my veterans disability by 40% today. So that's good. Still have two other things that I'm waiting on, so should be near 100 by the time we're done.
Guaranteed government salaries, and guaranteed government healthy food, and Medicare for
Waltz's Great Ghost actually sounds really good.
Guaranteed retirement, guaranteed.
They're like white grapes.
Nobody's ever given a price tag to all of that. And meanwhile, the government fails. We spend more per capita on education than any country in the industrial.
Or is that why you couldn't sleep?
Worst result. Our government schools have failed spectacularly. Now we're at a point where we're not even protecting the kids. And I'm sure after you pay your state taxes in Massachusetts, which are pretty high, and you pay your federal taxes, and you pay your FICA taxes, and maybe put a little bit of money away for retirement, and probably, I don't know what you do for a living, I'm assuming that sending your daughter to either a Christian school or a Catholic school or a public school where this wouldn't occur, I'm guessing it's not an option for you, which, by the way, is the case for many parents, if not most parents in the country. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. It's a financial burden to be able to pull your children out and stick them in private school or even homeschool, right? If you have a parent that's working, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to make ends meet with all the taxes that we pay here in the community. We expect our school systems in this country to be A1 in the world. And they missed the target. They missed their point. And we need to get a federal investigation.
Okay, the other exit. Okay, that's the one I need. Okay.
And have them comply and start changing the policy for law. And
I'm hungry. I think I'm going to grab a bite over at Red's.
But we need to pull those straws and show them that the parenting, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it. We can't have this happen to our children. We depend.
Is it a fair statement to say you and your wife don't have another option? That this is it? The government school, that you just can't afford a private school, and you don't have the ability because you're out working every day. You don't have the ability your daughter. Is that a fair statement?
It's a fair statement. It's a fair statement. And for many families that live on the world in Massachusetts, this state has some of the highest taxes, and it's very difficult for people to accommodate their children in that way. We trust these people. We send them to school for 6 hours a day to take care of them like they were their own, and they neglect that. They're too busy trying to push these ideologies and stuff on the children, and it's not fair. It's not fair.
Well, what about President Trump, who declared...
I mean, do you have to report it, or is it something you can disperse right away to, like, pay bills or, spend right away? So if it's not something that's going to be continuous, usually... probably going to be able to stay. I mean, that usually means it has to be a continuous amount. You know, one lump sum payment usually shouldn't end it like that. Or could you even have it staggered to you? I don't know the rules. Getting close to that age, but not quite yet.
Yeah, I think those were all great steps in the right direction. I think the problem is when you get down to kind of the nitty-gritty detail.
Well, if it's a one-time thing, usually that's not direct income then. It's just a lump sum of what's owed to you, you know?
They just ignore executive orders. They ignore what the president's saying until they're forced by a court or by an executive agency through action to actually scrap these policies and to protect the privacy.
I know the VA disability is not taxable, so that's a bonus for me.
The Department of Education, the Department of Justice to come in and help.
I don't mean to interrupt you only because of the constraints of time. I mean, are you getting it?
Yeah, but then that should reset. I mean, because you're not going to continuously get that lump sum. You're only going to get it once. They may adjust it. These are what my assumptions are. What little I know about Medicaid.
Getting attention on our case. That's why it's great to come on shows like this and have your listeners here, petition for cases like this to be heard. We know that they have.
I know
on their plate right now.
What I make when the wife wasn't working, she wasn't able to get it because I was making too much.
The department will take a close look at an open investigation into our case.
That should not put you over that.
With Sam Whiting, his legal counsel from Massachusetts, the Liberty Legal Center, Louis Rivera, a father, his 9-year-old daughter.
Because that's not continuous income.
Worry about she's in the
it's just like if someone gifted you a lump of money.
And the school doesn't care.
You know?
Other side, your calls, reaction to it, much more. 800-941-SEAN.
Here at the Sean Hannity Show, we want a thriving economy, border security, and protection of our children. Now, what else can we come up with to get off the left? Keep it locked right here for all the latest news and information.
If you're a business owner who's tired of banks dragging their feet, mountains of paperwork, and loan decisions based on your credit score, listen up. Signet does business funding differently. Big banks care about forms, FICO scores, and waiting weeks for answers. Signet cares about one thing: your revenue. If your business is bringing in consistent income, you can qualify fast. No endless paperwork, no red tape.
That almost sounds like something you
actually understand small business, not some automated system.
I guess she's already bringing it up that it's already alerted to her, but I think that's something that, when Medicaid finds out, then you deal with it type thing. Yeah.
Go to signetfunding.com. That's
I understand you're supposed to keep it up with them, but like I said, if it's not a continuous payment,
signetfunding.com. No cost, no obligation. Just a
I don't
quick
think
application
it should affect things.
Fast funding, real people. Built for business owners.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, the Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now,
yeah, 2 Fremont piggies there.
He's doing the dirty work to benefit
2 in a row.
corporate mega stores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits.
I'd probably just go to get a burger.
Durbin helps them do it. Tell senators, say no to the mega stores and Dick Durbin.
You got a highly rated burger.
Electronic Payments Coalition.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file bad tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-278-20.
Oh, really? That's cool.
800-278.
I know you really like it, but I really haven't been into that in a long time. So much other stuff. Oh, we got to have the. Oh, I was going to bring this up to you. You still haven't re-registered for the league. Yeah, you need to log back into ESPN and activate that crap or check your email. I want to do the draft this weekend. I got to reach out. I don't think I have Jody's number. I'm gonna have to reach out to Jody somehow. Yeah. Yeah, they get the ground beef from a place called Tank's Meats. It's pretty good.
Original games you can't play anywhere else. Games that bring people together. Sharing experiences that were never possible before. See it in action at board.fun.
No, you were in the new one I made, but then the old one finally converted over. So I deleted the new one. I need to get a hold of Dirty too and get him to activate his. I definitely want you guys in the league. I don't even know his Facebook. I haven't been able to invite him. Oh, YouTube Messenger, you mean? I forget that they have that now. Unless you know his Facebook. He said he's not interested. He said he's too busy to deal with it. I already asked him. I'm probably going to be too busy too, but that'll just be an advantage to everybody else in the league because I won't be able to pay attention. I don't think the first game is until like September 8th or something like that, but still I want to be ready. Ooh, he actually did. Was he streaming? I didn't even see it. I swear I don't get hardly any YouTube notifications anymore. He sends me text messages all the time. Oh shit. Govea's streaming, I forgot. Let me see. That's delayed too. What's he not having it? Yeah, yes.
Standing at the time that you sued in order to complain about these things. Now, the Postal Service, she references, will not take actions to implement any of this, but based on the language, they say from the Trump people that they're not violating the injunction.
That's nuts.
Because it's in the rules.
What happened to the rest of them?
Arguments, writes the Obama judge, ignore the explicit directive of me. I'm the president now. And I said, do not initiate, do not complete the rulemaking. Okay, she's now stepping over into the executive branch and saying that they can't even initiate something. You can't even begin thinking about this rule because it's going to be so harmful, or complete it at all. And defendants cannot contend they misunderstood this. In fact, she says, and she slaps back at the Supreme Court, this is wild, saying that the defendants feigned complete compliance with California versus Trump, the state case, when they went up to SCOTUS. And there, they
he got decapped
every day that we couldn't actually
and the lower part probably got burned up or something.
Actually articulate policy out of the executive branch. And so accordingly, despite Trump's DOJ's protestations, the U.S. takes its obligations, they said very seriously, as we just read. The court finds the defendants violated the injunction. Wild. And she writes that the Supreme Court, in this footnote, accepted the government's feigned compliance. Like, SCOTUS is so dumb that they accepted the government's lies.
I did hear that on my way out to Green Springs today.
Irreparable harm from this rulemaking.
One of the great ones.
So now the League of Women Voters, they want a remedy. And they want this to be ordered that it has no force in effect, and they can't even take preparatory steps that would change the status quo of an election.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those type of bad accidents when I was a paramedic.
Defendants argue that these requests confirm the current status quo. The final rule is up, but they can't implement it, saying it has no force in effect. They also say that the plaintiffs are not without remedy. All they need to do is go amend their complaint. Their original complaint was about something that didn't exist yet. Now the rule at least is published. So go amend your complaint. Now you have the final rule that's online. Go challenge that. She says the court understands from prior filings that the plaintiffs are not challenging the final rule, but they want the whole EO to be nuked. They claim the executive branch lacks authority to regulate elections. They're not regulating elections. SCOTUS just said that. The Supreme Court went through 6-3 Talwani and went through 3 different sections of the order. Nothing mandates the states do anything. There is no regulation at all. They're regulating the Postal Service. They're creating their own lists. None of it is mandatory for the states to engage with at all. And she says because the Postal Service is an integral part of the state's mail-in balloting, that the Postal Service cannot do anything there. Because authority with elections rests with Congress and the states and not with the president. And so the president can't actually govern one of his agencies because it implicates the elections and a tool that the states need to commit fraud. In other words, if the federal government wants to tamper down on fraud using the Postal Service to get it done, then what that means is they have no power and fraud can continue on. If it implicates elections, election fraud is perfectly acceptable, according to her. But defendants' violation of this order may ultimately inure to
9 to 5 was one of my all-time favorite movies when I was younger. My dad's too.
They could choose to file a new complaint, but nothing in the final rule and the issuance of the final rule is no longer hypothetical. And so therefore, for the foregoing reasons, the court finds that they violated the preliminary
district courts are still disobeying it.
Other remedy
They're still trying to bring up.
Identifying the violation.
That's what he's reading.
What? So they breached your court order, but you're not doing anything about it? No remedy other than identifying the violation. Man, she is something else, isn't she, Indira? So I think that kind of gives away the whole game. So she says, I think you violated my order. It reminds me of Judge Boasberg, but she can't really do anything about it because she knows the Supreme Court just said she doesn't even have jurisdiction over this case, and they couldn't even sue based on their alleged harm at the outset of the lawsuit. So no remedy other than identifying the violation. Great job. So why'd you spill all that ink? Because you can't do anything, because you know you have no jurisdiction over this. So what are you going to do? Order them to show cause? You're going to haul them in and start discovery proceedings? What are you going to do? Nothing. You know the Supreme Court slapped you down in the other case, so now you just want to mark it down, and really it sounds like nothing's even going to come of it. So we'll see ultimately what happens here, but the DOJ now...
Thing is, our bullshit Senate won't approve anybody anyway. We should be loading all these empty seats with judges.
And, yeah, very curious lady.
But the Senate just wants to be on vacation forever until they're the minority again, and then we'll really be deadlocked. Because they won't get rid of the fucking
Pending the appeals, as SCOTUS said in the companion case,
nonverbal filibuster. I say keep the filibuster, but they have to stand up there and talk. They can't just do a procedural filibuster.
Because even
I mean, all you got to do is make them talk until they wear out, and then do the vote.
So that is what the latest is.
I agree with having a filibuster. It's one where they don't have to do the work.
If they appeal it, there's really no consequences. So I guess the rule can stay on the internet.
I mean, one of my favorite old movies is what's his name? Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. He filibustered for hell, and it worked out for him. But that was a lot of work. He had to stand there. I think he was up there for over a day talking.
Penalty for violating the injunction, and the order's already on the internet. Then I guess it's going to go into effect. Is that where we're at?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm nervous about these midterms.
He's just throwing a temper tantrum as far as
one of the reasons I want to work the polls.
At all. So that's from Talwani about what you would expect from her, and this is also going to spread to the other cases we sparkles on from Trinidad and Tobago and more. We'll come back on that, but now we see the RNC is
I think that's
also
what 1929
proof of citizenship. We want that integrated into our election systems. We want a citizenship list.
What year was Mr. Smith Goes to Washington? 1939.
With the world premiere on October 17th and general release 2 days later, it was directed by Frank Capra and starred James Stewart and Jane Arthur.
To identify ballots got delivered, where they got picked up, how
yeah, 1939
and more. And here is a little bit of a summary on how the American people feel about this, courtesy of Fox News.
A lot of great movies that year too.
Citizenship remains a very, very popular thing on a bipartisan basis. Just verifying citizenship before you're able to vote. We got some Fox News polling just as of last month.
Wow.
I mean, across the board, overwhelmingly popular with Democrats, Republicans, and independents to check citizenship, not just with voting, but also with registering. But you look at those numbers and you look at how Democrats are reacting to this SCOTUS decision. California Governor Gavin Newsom saying in part, quote, California will be suing again to block these Orwellian rules from being implemented. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
How are they Orwellian?
Troubling. New York Governor Kathy Hochul, quote, New York challenged this unlawful executive order from the very beginning and will continue the fight. Carrie, what is Orwellian about this?
They're going to lose. Yeah, they don't want any checks and balances on the system because they exploit it. And they go and do the ballot harvesting. They exploit absentee ballots. They have entire sweatshops or whatever was going on in Michigan where they send people into strip malls and falsely register people and then add them to the polls and then pick up the ballots that are sent out. Signatures are not even being checked. They don't match. Nobody cares. You can register illegal aliens and then they suddenly find out when there's a glitch. It's Orwellian because for them, they can't win. It's oppressive to them. They need to control the entire system top to bottom.
It's so bizarre. I mean, they've gone from common sense things like voter ID, which again, everyone understands why this is needed, to the even crazier proposition that we shouldn't be checking to see if someone's even a citizen before allowing them to vote. There's another Supreme Court case that's going to be heard this term dealing with Arizona attempting to do the same thing. Can you take non-citizens off of the voter rolls if you find out they are not actually eligible to vote? It's amazing we're even having this discussion. It shows just how radical the Democrats, pushed by these DSA extremists, have become.
Exactly right. Carrie Severino's genius, so she knows what's going on. And Base Mike Lee is saying, you know, right now it's a battle between the president, the executive branch, and the judiciary.
Yeah, flat cameras are Orwellian.
Oh, yeah. Almost forgot about them. It's called Congress, the legislative branch. Maybe they could help with some of this stuff. Here's Base Mike Lee saying, today's SCOTUS ruling was a huge victory for election security, and it was about standing largely, slapping down the leftist lawfare organizations, the League of Women Voters, the Retired Alliance, and so on and so forth. The NAACP, the SPLC, they create all these groups and they sue. The civil ACLU, all of them. Now, as I explained in this clip, since Base Mike Lee, Congress still needs to pass the SAVE Act. Save America Act now more than ever. And so, John Thune, we're calling you out there, buddy boy. Please reconvene the Senate immediately and announce that we'll debate that bill until it passes. We know the Senate is doing whatever they're doing right now, campaigning or whatever, not doing anything. And so Mike Lee says, get off your butts, come back to D.C. and get this done.
Congratulations to President Trump and
Yeah.
his administration in securing a huge victory today for our election security in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court today stayed a lower court injunction that prohibited President Trump's executive order issued in March restricting the use of mail-in ballots and making sure that states will have to follow certain procedures to make sure that
Oh, they're getting knocked down all around here. I see they're blowing up in Florida. I mean, they're black, so I'm sure they absorb a lot of heat. They got batteries in them. What's his name? James Madison Audits was showing a bunch of them that had just disintegrated, basically. The batteries inside of them blew up.
Congress has to do its part.
At least, you know,
does not take the place.
That's what he says happened.
Replicate the Save America Act. We need the Save America Act. We need it passed right now.
I honestly don't care if somebody just
calling on you and
took an initiative on them.
Let's go. Let's reconvene the Senate right now, and let's pass the Save America Act. Sure, we don't have 60 votes. You know, we have a simple majority. If we reconvene the Senate and announce we're going to debate the Save America Act until it passes, not going home, no recesses, no weekends until it passes, it would pass. It might pass with a couple of changes, but it would pass. Let's get this done now.
Let's do it, John Thune. Calling you out there, bucko. Don't know what you're doing, but you're definitely not working on the Save America Nature motion pictures. And we need you to do it. So this is another pattern that we're seeing where Congress is deferring to the executive branch. They don't want to jump in on any of these contentious issues. We've got people like Lisa Murkowski who say it's the real voters. We can't actually have citizenship checks because they don't have the ability to go drive to a location to fill out the paperwork. It's the same argument that Kamala Harris made. So right now we've got a battle. We've got another obstinate, I would say, insurrectionist judge in Indira Talwani, who is once again flagrantly violating the Supreme Court. Although,
I mean, 1939 was a big one for movies. You had Gone with the Wind, Wizard of Oz, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and Stagecoach.
I'm just noticing that you're in trouble. Okay, I guess there's no consequences at all for it. So now she's going to have to go back, take a look at the case here, the League of Women Voters. Presumably,
Goodbye, Mr. Chips, Love Affair, and Achaka of Mice and Men, Wuthering Heights.
On the prior case, or maybe by the time we get there, they'll amend their complaint now that there is a final rule. So all this is battling back and forth. The major win, I'd say here, is that she knows she's cooked, which is why she's not actually doing anything about it. So we'll continue to enjoy the SCOTUS victory and keep our eye on this litigation, but you can also sense in the DOJ's filings here
that's considered one of the greatest years in movies.
They're pretty tired of her crap, and they're now not mincing words.
I took a class in college called American Movies, and they were all from 1939.
To see if she complied. That's the California case. It is now past 5:30 Eastern.
It was an elective.
And
it was one of my harder classes, though.
What did she do? Fresh out of the oven. Yeah, that's what we just said. She's now granting their motion to file a supplemental complaint. So she's going to go back now and say, just revise your original complaint. And then they'll allege a bunch of harms in there. They'll say, now that this final rule is out, now we have these harms. And again, I don't think that that's going to be all that sufficient, because the Supreme Court said, literally, the order from Trump said, follow the law. And all of it was interagency. Nothing was mandatory. Nothing was forcing the state's compliance. There is no overtaking of the elections at all. All they're doing is setting some standards for the Postal Service. How complicated is that? Well, for them, it's very complicated because it might result in their electoral obliviation, which is why they're so mad about it. So they'll go back, they'll file their complaint. And she'll probably try to stall this out to see if she can just kind of parlay that complaint, amend the complaint, then say, oh, the new complaint is also sufficient now for the injunction. And then we're going to have to appeal this back up to SCOTUS again or to the Court of Appeals. And so we'll see if this portion of the stay gets lifted. I'm going to guess she's going to try to race this through and then just incorporate them one after the other. But it is good. She's complying with the DOJ's request. They said, we want it by 5:30 today. So she issued a response by 5:30. Good judge. Continue to obey their demands. So we're going to keep our eye on this case. I think it's just warming up, and the Supreme Court has handed us a major tool that we can now leverage against these activist judges. We'll see if they comply. This has Judge Boasberg, Judge Jebb written all over it again. So we'll continue to monitor this election litigation and more. Thank you for joining and subscribing as we do. All right, lots more on elections here. Now, turning over to Michigan. More town clerks in Michigan are acting as American heroes and speaking out against electoral fraud, all being orchestrated by Jocelyn Benson, one of the worst secretaries of state in America, who's now running for governor. This woman came out and is a follow-up to another town clerk, which is a follow-up to the sheriff, who now is making a criminal referral to the DOJ, saying that the Secretary of State's office is literally registering illegal aliens to vote. They change their address, there's other processes, they get on the rolls. The town clerks who are supposed to actually run the elections are saying, we can't remove them. When they go and complain to Jocelyn, she says, well, I'm going to give you the list. And once you get the list from my office, we register them all, we add them and add them and add them and add them. Then you get the list, you can remove them and validate that. Problem is, they can't. By the time the town clerks get the list, all of the appropriate columns in the spreadsheet are removed, like the important one that says citizenship status, all cut off, so the clerks get lists that they actually cannot validate technically at all. So she has now emerged, and she said this on video, and this is a very brave thing to do, so shout out to our Michigan town clerks. More of these people are speaking out right now. Some of them are filing lawsuits, as we're going to take a look at here. Jocelyn is fighting back hard against them. And it's not just one crazy town clerk. We've now got multiples, all putting their name behind the truth. Here's this woman from Township Hall out in Climax, Michigan. Nice.
Hello, my name is Sarah Moore. I'm the clerk of Climax Township in Kalamazoo County, Michigan. Today, I'm joining with other clerks across the state of Michigan, calling for federal assistance in verifying
Yeah, I know where Climax Township is. That's funny.
On our voter rolls. Under MCL
that's near Hell, Michigan.
and MCL 168.520. I'm asking for this to be done legally and in my office to ensure that the voter files are protected under Michigan law. Recently, a whistleblower who was an employee at the Secretary of State's office came forward alleging that the Secretary of State is registering non-citizens to vote. Contrary to what the supervisor of that employee told them, local clerks have zero ability to verify the citizenship status of anyone in the qualified voter files. So I am asking for federal assistance to do my duty as a local clerk to ensure that those who are registered to vote are also legal citizens. Absentee ballots go out on September 24th and time is running short. So I look forward to hearing from someone and working with someone from the federal government very shortly. Thank you very much.
Nice. So that's over to you there, Todd Blanche and the DOJ and Harmeet Dillon. And it sounds like a fun town. Never been there, but maybe one day. You can see this guy also, if you missed it, his name is David Olson. So he's another guy out in Hastings, also saying the same thing, saying we need some federal assistance here. They're lying about our capabilities. They're adding illegal voters to the voter list, saying that we can't do anything to fix it. And this is a curious little tactic here because we know that Harmeet Dillon and the DOJ, the Civil Rights Division, has made very clear, if you are a part of the election mechanics and you are facilitating illegal votes to get counted in any way, shape, or form, we're coming for you.
Oh, yeah?
We're not going to let you just say, oh, we're so dumb. Oh, it was a glitch. Oh.
I guess Mackinac was one of them.
We want you to enforce compliance because, you know, that's your job. So this guy, Hastings, also
Maybe Traverse City.
My county sheriff, Darleaf, had received a report today and disseminated that information that an employee of the Secretary of State advised him and gave said that there was proof that when a non-citizen changes their address, programming automatically registers the non-citizen to vote. When the state employee advised their supervisor, the supervisor's response was, "It's okay because that will be caught downline by clerks." That is not correct. Once it's in the qualified voter file, there's no way for me to verify citizenship. Therefore, they are automatically issued a ballot or an absentee ballot. So,
Ironton is in Ohio.
It's my responsibility to safeguard the qualified voter file for our township according to MCL 168.151 and MCL 168.520.
That's a shitty area. Wow.
Is interested to help verify my citizen role.
Ironwood, okay, that makes better.
To have them here. I will safeguard my voter roll in the office.
Still not very.
Certainly welcome to come and compare against mine.
Very big tourist area.
Our federal elections, we will definitely follow law, and it will be fair.
Yeah, I know where it's at. It's just.
Thank you, sir. So we've got two there, and of course, we also have lawsuits that are being filed. And this was a big one that we've been keeping our eye on here, brought by Kevin Kajewski.
When I was a kid, I spent my whole summers up in the UP
and
most of the time.
Now we're seeing that after they sued Jocelyn Benson, she, according to the complaint, was ordering the town clerks to delete certain files. Elections would happen. She said that they would change the election rules so that the clerks had to delete files within 7 days. Problem with that, of course, is that the federal government says you got to keep them for 2 years. You have to comply with federal law in case there's an audit, in case the FBI wants to come into Fanny's land and go take those pallets full of ballots, so that we can actually validate what's going on in America. So these clerks are now put between a rock and a hard place. If they don't follow Benson, then she goes after them. If they comply with federal law, if they don't comply with federal law and do what Benson wants, they're committing a federal crime. So they're screwed either way. So now Kajewski responded to this, and he said, after the complaint was filed, Jossie Bency, she came out and issued a response, and then boom, they slammed her in response as well. So he gives us a summary here. He said, Jocelyn created a new rule that orders the clerks, the people that we just saw, to destroy election records in violation of federal law because she's a criminal. My client sued because it forces her to break federal law. Benson then filed a 23-page response. We'll take a quick look at it, trying to get the case thrown out, but not once in that entire response did she say that this new rule was legal. She's basically saying you can't sue, like you have no standing, or you're prevented from suing because you sued too late. This rule's already been on the books for a long time, so it's like an estoppel type latches argument. So read it for yourself, we will there. And their brief tells the court that their own director of elections cannot, quote, offer a substantive argument in response to their complaint without tipping his hand. Well, this is litigation, so you may want to actually articulate your argument in your filings. And this, quote, it remains to be seen whether Jocelyn...
Good, she's shampooing carpets again today. She just finished it up. She just sent me a picture of the main hallway, all shampooed up. It looks really good.
To a judge here in Michigan. So what did they argue? That she waited too long in a case filed 8 days after the election. Jocelyn is saying, but the rule was on the books for a very long time. And asked her twice to clarify the rule. Like, you're ordering us to violate federal law? Are you serious? Like, really? You want us to do that? Also, that any determination about Benson's rule belongs in a process run by the department that the client sued. So not once in the 23 pages did Jocelyn argue that a clerk can destroy federal records, because that would be admitting to federal crimes there. And that is the entire case. Okay, 23 pages from Jocelyn on nothing. Our response went in yesterday. We'll take a look at it. And their own sworn affidavit, according to this lawyer, says that they want to send election record destruction guidance, okay, to Michigan's 1,500 local clerks, all the heroic people that we just heard from. who say, we actually need help from the feds. This whole thing is so screwed up. We need law to come in and take hand in fixing it. So this guy submitted this, and we have been appreciating his filings here. Here's what Jocelyn ultimately said. I just want to share the highlights with you. You get the point of it. But they're not addressing the substance. Once again, latches, okay? You sued too late. And now we're being prejudiced by this.
One of our German Shepherds, he's already been groomed once from molting, and he's already starting to do it again. So we're going to have to get that done.
Comply with Jocelyn and violate federal law, or are they going to not comply with Jocelyn, come under scrutiny of her and Big Gretch Rona and Nessel, and then comply with
Govea here.
So they write, this is from Jocelyn, saying that plaintiff Michelle McQueer files this late challenge to the validity of a rule which requires the deletion of local copies of software and associated files for a preceding election from the
That's actually Bill's Lexus in front of me.
For their use in a subsequent election. So now she's like, oh, we're just clearing out the hard drives so that there's space available for the next set. That's all. And it's a rule, okay? This is a rule by Jocelyn. This is the same Jocelyn who wanted to change the rules to require a presumption of validity for the signatures. Trying to change the rules, not the statute, okay? She's not a legislator. She is a secretary, so they take the rules that are actually passed by the appropriate legislative body in the state, and then she just kind of interprets them in a way, then writes the rules. Then the rules go into the election manuals. Those all get deployed to the town clerks, and then the clerks follow her illegal rules.
So hang in there, guys. Let them know I sent you.
With the law. So then they say, the plaintiff
what I'm
says
listening
the
to.
rule is, they write, which reflects the promulgation of a decades-old procedure, violates federal law. They want to stop the rule from going into effect, but they fail. Why? They haven't exhausted their administrative remedies. Not because the law or the rule is valid.
Thanks for hanging out, guys. Let them know I sent you. Yeah, I will say hi to Bill.
By latches, saying this rule became effective back in October, but they waited until October 12th to file her complaint. She even gives away the game right there. 8 days after the primary, that's when this issue became apparent. 8 days, election is over, they have to delete things. So this delay is inexcusable, and so